I'd like to disagree with you
right,
about college as a scam.
Okay.
Just because there's 50% of people who you say don't need college to get a job, why would it be a scam? There's a social impact about college, on America. College is, good.
The majority of kids that go to college when they graduate have a lower view of America than when they entered. Do you think that's a troubling thing?
I think just changing your opinion doesn't really matter too much.
Do you think that college teaches responsibility and hard work and...
Sure.
Okay, well, I find that hard to believe. Why is it that employers are more and more not wanting to hire college graduates and they actually want to hire people that didn't go to college?
What employers?
You can name them out, man. Walmart just got rid of their, even in their corporate level, so you don't need to go to college. Koch Industries, one of the largest employers in the country, from Georgia Pacific Railroad to Dow Chemical. They said we no longer want kids that have gone to college because they end up causing problems because they're super entitled and they're like, oh, what are my pronouns? And they have all this like left-wing nonsense that they've been filled with.
Well, then you have engineers, doctors, lawyers, people that
Sure, we need that, but that's less than 20% of the people that go to college.
Yeah, but
college
it'd
is
be
an
wrong to say
institution.
college is a scam if 25% of people become great people. Lawyers, doctors, engineers.
That's not what
really
college currently is, though. Again, I'm happy to have you read the book. College is a scam. I wrote it. I can have a more wordy thing, which is the vast majority of people that go to college are receiving a scam for the money that they're borrowing. The vast majority. Of course, there's exceptions. You can make whatever you want with your life. I mean, you could. But I mean, when you enter into an enterprise, you need to know that you are
currently... Most people that go into college make more money at the end.
How many of you guys have to take classes that are a waste of time that you wish you wouldn't have to take? Every single hand. You're being scammed against your will to take classes that make you go further into debt. Why can't you say, I don't want to take this class? Why as a customer you can't say...
Can you do a differential equation?
You what?
Can you do a differential equation?
Can I do
Can you explain to me the anatomy of a human?
Like someone off the top of my head.
You know what psychology is.
Yes, I do know what psychology is.
Okay,
I've read
can you
Freud and I've read
explain
Jung.
to me?
Do you want me to explain psychology?
Well, you can't explain it to the depths of a bachelor's degree or a PhD.
Well, hold on a second. Time out. I've sat here with no notes, no phone, and debated people with PhDs,
because you study
masters.
this because it's your job.
Hold on. I didn't go to college, man. That's the point. Is you could do whatever you want without a college degree. You could listen to podcasts, read books. You don't need to go.
Gauss wasn't able to go to the University of Göttingen. That's literally the reason.
I can't hear what you said. What'd you say?
You know Gauss, right? Mathematician.
Yes, vaguely, sure. Okay.
Vaguely.
Yes, vaguely, yeah.
Oh,
do you know who Milton Friedman is? Do you know who Herbert Marcuse is? You know who Thomas Sowell is?
Do you use a phone?
Do you know who Gouverneur Morris is?
Well, that's because of Gauss.
No, you don't. So I could do gotcha too.
Like
so
Euler
you try to
went
get
going
off
to
your ivory
university
tower
is the
and
reason
that not
he was able to become so proficient in mathematics.
So here's
and
the
change
thing.
the world.
The majority of kids that go to college
people
are more depressed than when they enter.
PhD degree are able to perform much better in their field than someone who doesn't.
Well, then, if that's the question, if that really is true, if college is this amazing accelerant, then why do so many people...
I wouldn't say it is accelerant, but if you're looking at a field of science, right?
Let me finish, man.
And you want to accelerate that field of science,
or have you not done that yet?
You need a degree.
All right. Let me make my point. If that's the case, why do half of these kids end up with anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 in debt, and they end up getting a job that says, "Oh, sorry, you never needed the degree in the first place"? Why is that the case? Tell me.
People on average, once going to college, make more money.
Hold on, that's not true. They end up getting a job. That's only if they graduate and it depends on the field of study. Do you know the average college graduate now is getting a job at $61,000 a year. The average plumber after 18 months, $68,000 a year.
Well,
the
sure,
average
but the
welder,
plumber
$72,000 a year.
With peers,
the plumber didn't go to college. The plumber went to trade or technical school. There's 11 million job openings that do not require a college degree in this country.
Well, who engineered the stuff plumbers use?
I'm sorry, what?
Who engineered the stuff plumbers use?
I'm sure someone here. I mean, it's like
someone with a degree.
It's like saying who designed
college.
the airplane for the pilot to fly. I mean,
someone with a degree that went to college. Pilots go to college.
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying you get rid of all places of higher learning. The way it's currently comprised for you guys, the amount of debt you have to go into, the classes that you have to take.
Don't get rid of places of higher learning, but then you go on to say college is a scam.
You're interrupting me every 15 seconds. You're not debating in good faith because it is a scam. So let me ask you a question. Can you point to other things of American life the last 100 years that have been scams? For example, when someone they run an advertisement. They say buy these pills because we're going to make you super muscular, and they don't have all the fine print that it might not work, and you have to have a monthly subscription. We shut down that business for being
That's
a
a little
scam.
different, though. That's a
How is
product.
it different? Hold on a second. When you show up to college, did they tell you have to take all these classes that you didn't sign up for? Did they? Oh, it said that you're going to have to take all these different classes. Did they tell you that half of you guys would not ever use your degree when you go into your career? How many guys knew that? You guys knew that when you signed up?
Well, college
knew
is
that.
what you
then
make of it, right?
You guys are willingly participating in the scam. Good for you. The point is this, is that most kids know deep down they're getting ripped off. The number one thing I hear from people across the country in corporate America, boy, college is a waste of time. Boy, I wish I never would have gone. Now I have $60,000 in debt, $70,000 in debt. I wanted to start a business, but now I don't have the credit to do it. Instead, we are wasting our most prized possession, our 18 to 22-year-olds, to go stick them at many universities when they shouldn't be here in the first place. And it is a failed project. It is making us poorer. And by the way, just look at the actual numbers over a period of time. Has it worked? Is homeownership now going up for young college
Well,
graduates?
how are we going to blame that on college, though?
There's
a lot of different
it is the
reasons that
most
people are not
equally
able to buy
applicable.
homes.
It's the most equally applicable thing across the board for a
I wouldn't
generation.
say so.
And if you look at the average, how much debt do you have to go to school, by the way?
None.
None. Okay, wow. Are you on scholarship or?
Yeah,
Okay, so who's paying for your college then?
probably the federal government.
Okay, so I'm paying for your college, is what you're saying. My taxes are paying for your college. So wait, you're on grant or what?
I'm not going to discuss my college finances with
Well, no,
you.
this is really important. This is why you're so defensive of college.
Yeah.
This is why you're so forceful, because you don't have to walk around the rest of your life with $100,000 student
I know
loan debt.
plenty of people that have part-time
Hold on a second.
jobs and go to college.
This explains you perfectly. I, the taxpayer, when I write my check to the IRS, I'm subsidizing your ability to go to college.
Okay. When
And I
I
think that's a
write
huge
my
mistake,
check to the
'cause-
IRS, I
'cause
also give money for people to go to college.
You should have skin in the game. You should, and you don't right now. You are doing a freeloading thing. Of course, you should be defensive of
I
college.
pay taxes. I pay federal taxes.
Yeah,
I pay state taxes.
I'm
Well,
sure I
state-
pay a
not
little
state
bit more than
income
you, but that's a
taxes,
separate issue. But the point is this: is
That's
that
probably true.
do you think you pay anywhere close to the tuition value you get at the school? Probably not.
Yeah, probably I do. It's like $5,000 a semester. It's a lot of money, but you get a lot out of
Wait,
that.
hold on. How much is it to go to school here?
It's around 5,000
So in-state.
in-state. Yeah.
Okay, did that include room and board and tuition?
No.
Okay, how much does that cost?
Room, board, tuition, all of it's around 11,000.
11,000 a semester. So you pay $22,000 a year in taxes?
No.
Okay, got it. So you're in a tax deficit, which means the U.S. taxpayer is subsidizing your education. That's fine. I'm not faulting you for it, but this is why you're so defensive, is you're detached from the price. You're detached from the cost. It's easy to be defensive of something you're not paying for.
Hey, my name's Blair. Just got a question for you here. How do you feel about the black community receiving reparations?
I'm against that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why so?
Well, first of all, what is the black community? So, for example, do you mean like recent immigrants from Haiti or Nigeria?
I do not. No.
Okay, for sure. So you're meaning like ancestral descendants of slaves.
Correct.
That
Yes,
could
sir.
be proven with documentation.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. So to be consistent, do you believe that other groups that have been mistreated in America should also receive reparations?
What are those other groups?
Well, they're not necessarily by America, but let's just take one. Jewish Americans, right?
Okay.
They almost got eliminated in the Holocaust. Should they receive reparations?
Not from us.
Okay, not from us.
Not
but-
from the United States, that is.
Okay. So here's my view, and I want to hear yours,
Okay.
which is that I did not own slaves, and you were not a slave.
Correct.
Right. So we are individuals, and therefore we cannot be held accountable or should receive something from something that didn't happen to us or something we did not do. That is a basic law of justice, that I can't be held accountable for something that somebody looked like me did, and you should not benefit from something that somebody you were related to. Now, you'll probably say systemic racism and how that passed down through generations. Happy to address that. The problem with reparations, though, is basically what you're saying is I'm going to take money from Charlie Kirk for something he didn't do and give it to a group of something, to somebody of something they also didn't do. For what reason? How is that just?
So not so much how is it just, but there are those arguments that says because of what happened in the past, this group of people have been negatively affected from this nation's crimes against humanity to that certain group of people. And that's how we see it, or how some people see it, if you will.
Okay, sure, but I will say that even if there is some truth to that, which I wouldn't even be willing to grant very much, because Black America was doing incredibly well before the not incredible. They were pacing to be even richer than white America. Is that we must look through the question of is it just and moral to take from one group especially first and second generation immigrants that had nothing to do with this. So think about it. Your tax base would be taxing, like, if anyone here is Irish or Polish and your family came 100 years ago, we would be taxing people that had nothing to do with it. And I'll go a step further. My family fought on the Union side of the Civil War, right? So you're going to be taxing Charlie Kirk, whose descendants fought to free the slaves, to go give money to people that were descended, from slaves. So what is a way that we could try to help all communities? Here's maybe we can find some common ground,
Sure,
right?
I'm listening.
Instead of reparations.
Sure.
Is that we need to break the cartel of public sector teacher unions, allow school choice to occur, and make it easier for people of all backgrounds, but specifically Hispanic and Black individuals and young kids to have a quality education, because a good education in K through 12 is one of the most assured ways that they'll be able to succeed later in life. Secondly, we need to put fathers back in the home.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's 70% of Black kids are raised without a stable father in this in the country. So if we can find common ground on that, I think that would go a lot further than just giving cash for people that happen to be related to something evil that happened a little while ago.
It's all right if you have an opinion. I'm saying it's not all right if you don't understand how the female reproductive system works.
Let's pop quiz. When does heartbeats begin for babies in utero?
Have you ever eaten an egg before? That's yes or no. Have you ever eaten an egg before?
Scrambled, yeah.
Okay, so would that be you scrambled a full chicken?
Well, hold on. You understand that it takes an egg to be fertilized?
Right.
Yeah.
But Your
Yeah.
point,
So-
the whole
so-
point you're making,
Well,
is
hold
that
on. So,
a
but no.
baby.
Since we're doing pop quiz on like human development, so when exactly do heart waves begin in utero?
You know that, but you don't know the four.
Hold on. No.
cycles.
So tell me when heartbeat.
know.
Okay, you don't know.
No.
So wait, hold on. So you're trying to say I know more about the woman reproductive system than you do?
I am a woman, so yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, but the point being is we could both go back and forth of like independent trivial facts when it comes to the woman's reproductive system. But here's something we all know, because God wrote this on the human heart of every individual, as it says in the book of Romans. We know deep down it's wrong to murder a baby.
You're not murdering a baby. It's not a baby.
Okay. Well, let's play this out. What is it then?
It is an embryo, which is not a baby.
Well. Okay. So it's a fertilized embryo.
Correct, which
right.
is not a baby.
So at what point does it become a baby?
When it is born.
Oh.
I don't agree with abortions up to full-term abortions.
Well, hold on, but you said it becomes a baby when it's born.
Yes.
Then why would you have abortion limits before it's born? I thought it's just an embryo. So embryo rights?
No, the embryo rights aren't a
But
thing.
then
because it's not
where
a
would you
person.
draw a line for abortion then, and why, and under what moral standard?
There are medical reasons not
No,
to have
no,
an
no,
abortion
no,
for
that's
full
not the
term.
question. That's not
Yes,
the
it is.
question.
You just asked me why would I not have an abortion full term for medical reasons.
Okay, so at 29 weeks, the baby is nearly fully developed, can recognize the mother's voice, has a heartbeat, has brain waves. Is it okay to abort that baby?
I don't it's not okay, but you're going to say it's okay to have an abortion then. I don't understand what you're trying to say. It's not okay to have an abortion ever? How
Correct.
about 3
Yes.
weeks in?
Correct. No
Right.
abortion. Correct.
Why?
Well, because your life started at conception.
It did not though. It
Well-
did not.
Well, hold on. So let's play this out. So who are you as an individual? From your skin color to your eye color to your likes, your dislikes, from your temperament to your everything.
I am not an embryo. I'm a person.
Hold on a second. But it started with something called deoxyribonucleic acid. And your own individual DNA started at the point of egg and sperm meeting. That's where your journey started. And so from that point in particular, life begins. Not at birth, not at first words, not at first steps, but when your DNA, which is who you actually are. You are your DNA. Every one of your DNA cells is coded XX or XY. It's coded with all of your unique characteristics and attributes that we believe God individually curated for the rest of your life. That doesn't happen at 8 weeks or 10 weeks. It happens at conception.
What happens if you need a medical abortion? If the mother will die if she does not get an abortion?
So
What's your stance on
the
that?
only place where medical abortion is necessary is before 20 weeks, which is
What
incredibly
if she
rare.
will die? What if the mother
Hold
will
on a second.
die?
So let's take, for example, this is a very important question. Let's say it's 27 weeks, okay? And the mother will die. Why shouldn't, you could agree, why don't we just have the baby delivered by cesarean section? You know what a cesarean section is, right?
Yes.
What is a cesarean
A
section?
C-section?
Yeah, why wouldn't we just put the baby out by C-section instead of terminating it?
Because if the mother will die, it's not safe
but
to do that.
You remove the baby.
I understand.
Threat removed.
I know what a C-section
But
is.
it's actually safer than an abortion. So every time they say, this is for you guys, they say, oh, you need to have abortion for medical reasons, respond, then have a C-section.
What if you're not able to have a C-section? What if you are on your deathbed, you need to have an abortion right now?
Well, again, but
and it's illegal. You
guess
can't,
what?
so you
Actually,
have to die.
First and foremost, C-section is safer, C-section is quicker, and a C-section saves both lives. A C-section
The
takes...
baby is already dead, you just said.
No, but even... No. Hold on a second. You're saying if the baby's already dead, then it doesn't have an abortion, right? Then you're talking about a removal of a carcass, which is a completely different medical operation.
So you're saying that's okay if you're having...
If you're hold on. If you're removing a carcass of a baby, that is not an abortion. By definitionally.
It's the same process.
No, it's completely different. During an abortion, they actually inject the spinal fluid with cyanide poisoning as the baby squirms and tries to find its mother, and it is gasping for air of life. Have you ever watched an abortion? It is
Have
one of
you?
the... Yeah, actually I have. And I encourage every human being to watch one to know what you are fighting against. Because when you see abortion, you will have your life will be changed. That we allow the massacre of 1.5 million babies a year under the guise of woman reproductive health. We are allowing babies every single year to just say, you know, we're going to discard them. Why? Oh, they're smaller. They're not humans. You're using dehumanizing language saying, oh, it's an embryo. No, that's a baby. Made in the image of God, deserving of protection.
What do you do with those children once they're born into a bad household?
So now we've transitioned to, like, what do you do with the kids?
Right.
Glad we're past the other part of the argument, okay? What do you do with them? You know there's twice as many people on the adoption waiting list than there are abortions every single year?
And they're still on the list. So you want to send a child into an orphanage?
Well,
is that what you want for a child? Is that a good life for a child?
No, I'm not advocating that. In fact, I'm advocating to make it easier to be able to adopt, number one. Number two, there's no such thing as an unwanted child. Number three, it is never right to justify the mass elimination or termination of people under the guise of saying they're unwanted. That's how we get Auschwitz. That's how we get the greatest horrors of the 20th century. Those people are unwanted.
So you're comparing abortion to the Holocaust?
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
It's really not. I don't think it is.
It's 45 million babies. It's nearly 8 times worse than the Holocaust. What's the moral difference between a small baby in the womb and a grown Jew who was killed at Auschwitz? What's the moral difference? One is older?
Is a person?
What species is the baby in the womb?
It's a human, but
therefore
it's an
they should have human rights.
No.
They should have human rights.
I do not agree.
Oh, so small humans, no human rights. Grown humans, human rights.
It's not a small human. It's an embryo.
You just said it was a human species.
It's not a living human child.
Wait, it's not a what?
It's not a child.
But
it's not a living child.
It has a heartbeat. It has brain
waves. That does not make it a child.
But tell me when it becomes a child then.
I already told you, when it is born.
Again, so under every other objective definition, you see, guys, how quickly the pro-abortion arguments fall apart with just the slightest questioning? But our position is one rooted not in feelings, not in personal autonomy, but one in biological consistency and reality. That your life had an agreed-upon starting point, that starting point should be protected and preserved. And the excuses given for abortion is dehumanization. Oh, it's just an embryo. Guys, that's just using different language to justify the massacre of something smaller than you. That's all that it is.
I think that the anti-immigration rhetoric you have is not new. I think that you try to paint a picture of it being this current phenomenon that we're facing, but there's been rhetoric from your side for a long time, throughout the entirety of history. I mean, if we look at the immigration policies in the U.S., even though Chinese immigrants built the entire Western Railroad, there was still the Chinese Exclusion Act because they were providing insane value to the United States, but we still had these exclusion acts because of xenophobic attitudes. And so this is not a novel idea that immigrants are bad for the country. So I'm interested in why you think that all of a sudden we need to change the way the United States works.
Well, first of all, immigration has gone in great influxes. We basically turned off all immigration in the 1940s and 50s. We had like net zero immigration for almost 15 years. Most people don't even know that. So we had Ellis Island in the early 1900s, and then we turned on the guzzle of immigration. But let's be honest, for 40 years we have tried this mass immigration project for the last 40 years. Has it worked? Are we a more connected country? Have middle-class wages kept up? Look at the material data. Has immigration enriched the well-being of the United States of America, especially the last 5 or 6 years? I would say, of course not, actually. We're more divided, we're more factious, and we see this in almost every European country as well. When you import a bunch of people that don't speak your language, that are from the third world, all of a sudden you have mass destabilization happening in your country. It's not a matter of being xenophobic. Instead, it's a matter of being patriotic to your own country and your own citizens. It's not about hating the foreigner, it's about loving the citizen. And your obligation is always to citizens first, not foreigners.
Okay. So you don't think that the MAGA movement has led to xenophobic attitudes at all?
I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, like...
Why not?
Well, because you have to first define what you mean by xenophobic attitudes.
I mean, just like you said, I mean, we're living in a divided world. You don't think that comes from people being anti-immigration?
No, I think it's the opposite. I think when you allow a bunch of people that aren't native-born Americans too quickly, with no checks, no background, no idea who they are, and flood them into your towns, definitionally, diversity is not a strength when it comes to local community ties.
If you don't use it. If you don't use it, I don't know that you're committed to finding its strength.
Hold on, no, explain this to me. This is a good question.
Yeah.
What country has ever grown stronger the more divided it's been?
None, but I'm not saying
Yeah,
that
that's
we
the point.
have to get more divided.
No,
via
but
immigration.
diversity definitionally will divide you. Unity unifies you. You notice they never say unity is our strength, they say diversity is our strength. In fact, just so we are clear, there is nothing racist or xenophobic to say that you want your kids to be around people that speak English. There's nothing racist to say that. It actually means that you want to be able to communicate with your neighbor. There's nothing racist and xenophobic to say, for example, we don't want to import people from a far-off distant land that don't share Western values, that don't treat women the same, that don't have the same respect for freedom of speech. So what we see is the unraveling of the United States of America, because a country is again, just like undoubtedly, it is the people that inhabit it. So you have to be very careful what people you allow into your country.
Sure, but I think that what you're talking about, this like mass shift in American culture, is like not happening. I think you're fear-mongering. And also, I think that the United States forever has been a mix of culture. I don't really know like where you can point to a time in the U.S. history that hasn't included immigrants in its culture.
Again, from the 1920s and 1960s, we had very little immigration in this country, nearly 40 years. In fact, that is what largely led to us becoming a world superpower in the 1950s. We
had the Bracero program back then, where we brought in tons of laborers from Mexico to the United States to work in agricultural, and that's how we fed the United States. So I really don't think that you can say that.
It was very limited in scope versus what we see today. But again, I will ask a more moral question. Does a politician have first loyalty to its own citizens or to another country's citizens?
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought this, because I wanted to circle back to my original question about the United States creating instability in the rest of the world. I do think that every single politician, like let's say I'm the Prime Minister of South Africa, you know,
Which is an incredibly anti-white country. Like, oh my goodness.
Okay, anyway.
Dangerously anti-white.
Okay, anyway.
Do you know about that, by the way? You should.
Apartheid, yes.
Oh, no. It's like they're killing white people in the streets in South Africa. They're stealing farmland. I mean, if you don't know about that, that shows how the media is lying to all of you. It is literally a mini white genocide happening in South Africa right now.
But I don't think that we should...
No, it's fine. You brought up South Africa, not me, but yes.
That was just an example. Anyway, let's stay on topic. So let's say I'm the Prime Minister of a country. I do agree with you that my first job is that country, for sure. That's who I'm leading. But considering the United States has created mass violence, instability, and poverty around the world, you don't think that we have some sort of obligation to the people who then have to flee from that?
No.
Why not?
Wait, hold on. Well, why not? Define your terms. Where have we created mass stability? I'll grant you Iraq. That was a disaster. Where else?
In all of Latin America, in different countries in Africa, places that, like the Philippines that we colonized, Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm always so interested in this, as if it's like, you can never blame those countries for not having their act together. It's somehow America's fault. Like, oh, it's America's fault that Nicaragua can't get its act together. It's America's fault even though we welcome Puerto Rico to become U.S. citizens, like we've colonized them. So here's the paradox.
You don't think that Puerto Rico was colonized?
No. I'm saying no. So if we don't help Puerto Rico, we're evil. When they become a territory, we colonize them, and we haven't done enough. It's like, which one is it exactly?
So the Puerto Rico was taken from the Spanish as a colony and used as a sugar farm for years, where the workers were paid less than $1 per day to create sugar for the United States. And it's not really about statehood or independence. It's about letting Puerto Rico decide that for themselves. And anyway, this isn't about Puerto Rico.
No, it's fine. But and more broadly, and I'll get to the couple final questions here. I can sense that your problem is that like America's super successful and these other countries aren't. And foundationally, it's rooted in envy, bitterness, and resentment because we are the world's superpower. It's not because we've held anybody back. It's because we've had incredible people, really good ideas.
You don't think the U.S. has intervened in a negative way in other countries?
At times, yes. At times, we've intervened very favorably. Can you at least acknowledge at times that...
Sure, there has been aid, but there's also been terrible
coups. Not just aid. South Korea exists because of American involvement. Kuwait exists because of American involvement.
But it's not.
So...
But to look at American accountability, you have to look at the whole of that accountability. And to say that certain countries are less developed purely on their own fault is to ignore history.
So that's where we disagree. Okay. Countries have to take responsibility for their own future, which again, this is one of the reasons why so many people hate Israel. Every other country around there is like a third world country, and Israel is super successful and super agenic, and they're able to be like one of the wealthiest countries on the planet. You gotta wonder, what is it that they're doing? Oh, it's the Jews because they're stealing all this money. No, actually they like work super hard, and they don't believe in Islam, and they and like, wow. And the one place
Have you ever been to those countries?
Yeah, actually, I have been to Israel, and I've been to the Palestinian Authority. I've been to the West Bank. I've actually visited it. Even if I hadn't, that doesn't mean what I'm saying is wrong, just for the record. By the way, I encourage you to try to go to Lebanon or Syria. Not exactly the Four Seasons, right? So,
and you
not
don't
great.
think that U.S. intervention has anything to do with that?
Partially, but again, to blame the evil U.S. intervention for every single problem is, at its core, intellectually sloppy.
I don't think so, because the United States has 2 times the military of the rest of the world. It has been in our DNA to intervene in a military way in other countries. So to say, I mean, I know you believe
so I want to try to square this all together. I got to get another question, just to make sure I'm clear. So you're mad at America for getting involved in other people's countries, right? So America's bad for that. But then you want everyone to come to America. I thought America's bad.
I'm saying that the United States needs to be held accountable. You can't meddle in
So we're held
countries.
accountable by inviting the entire world here?
If you are going to mess up that country, you have to do something about it.
Oh, do something. Invite them here.
Maybe if you're the reason that they have to leave. No?
All right. Then that at its core, I'm glad you articulated it, is neoconservatism, which is invade the world, invite the world. Which is that you don't support the invasion part of it, but somehow we have to invite the world as some sort of like mass penance.
But that's like you invade and then say, oh.
Well, no, I don't support the invasions. I think you are overly ascribing fault to the United States of America, when in reality it's these own broken countries that cannot get their own act together. A great example is this, and I'll close with this. El Salvador is actually safer than America. It has billions of dollars flowing into El Salvador. Why? Because they elected Bukele, who decided to go after MS-13 and clean up the streets of El Salvador. Which, again, it was because they decided to do good things with massive action. Countries can be wealthy. Singapore is wealthy. You could be a very wealthy country if you embrace Western market ideas, private property with low crime, and it's not always...
I mean, in the case of El Salvador, the United States was the reason that the country broke down into gang warfare, and now if you look at the way they were able to turn around, they had to declare a state of emergency just to be able to turn things around.
It's just like, this is where we're different, and then I'll close, then we have to get going. I look at America as a force for good. You look at everything wrong and you say it must be America.
No, sir, I'm looking at bad things that they have done and calling for accountability.
Okay, like I
mean, maybe we disagree, I don't know.
I guess I think we're a wonderful country, and I think if a country is poor, they're poor by choice, and they have to be able to get their act together, make better decisions, and stop acting like victims all the time. Thank you very much. You see, I got another super fan right there. You want to come up here? No, you're too afraid? Got it. Okay, next question. Is that we got another? That's a sign of endearment in most cultures. Come on up.
You got something to say it.
Oh, come on up.
care so much about other individuals living their lives? Why is it affecting you? Do you have something up your ass or something?
Well, I could throw that right back at you. Why do you care so much about what I have to say?
Because you're affecting other people's rights. You're taking away people's choices. You are hurting people.
Read the Constitution.
What rights am I taking away exactly?
You're trying to take away gender-affirming care for individuals. You are affecting abortion rights. You are hurting people.
He's not hurting anyone.
Is it a right as a 16-year-old to be able to chop off your breast? That's a human right?
People are allowed to do what they want with their body, but
okay.
gender-affirming care is not going to be happening at that. And also,
Well,
like
it
the
is,
individual was saying earlier, it starts with the social.
Got it. So what is a woman?
What is a woman? It's what people identify as, is a gender. Sex is different. Sex is different from gender.
So can anyone be a woman?
Yes.
At what point do you know you're looking at a woman?
Doesn't matter when you are looking at a woman. You don't have to look at a woman and immediately tell. Can you tell looking at a baby what gender they are without looking at their privates? Tell me that.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, what about that baby is different?
But hold on. By the time they're 6 months old, you can actually tell a young boy tends to gravitate more towards balls and remotes.
That's because of gender affirming. That is convincing individuals at a young age. You are socializing, putting them in situations where they want certain different things. Let's look at... So, let's say you were a little kid and your parents taught you to like pink. Let's actually look back in time. Pink actually used to be a male color instead of blue.
In what world?
Actually, in the 1920s.
So you say that I'm here to take people's rights away.
Yes.
That is your main contention.
Yes, because
Right.
you are affecting the LGBT. You are affecting women's rights. If I was pregnant, oh wait, let's go back to this. Abortion is anything. If I had a cyst on my uterus, that would be considered an abortion.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Look at,
That-
okay, anything that is evolving the uterus,
Well, no. In order for it to be an abortion, it must be a human life.
no. Anything that is
yes.
evolving the uterus and you have to get rid of it, it is considered abortion.
No, that's
Yes,
not how
it
that's
is.
not how it works. So again, you say I'm here to take rights away.
Yes.
Do you agree life is a right?
I feel like if it's a clump of cells, then it's not alive.
No. But let's go back. Do you think every human being has a right to life?
Depending on how many weeks, but let's
So wait,
get-
hold on. Who's
No,
trying to take
no.
rights away? I want to protect the rights of all human beings. You call them a clump of cells. Who's trying to take rights away exactly?
So when is it a human being in your mind? When is it a human being
At-
in your mind?
Well, it's not even on my mind. Human development objectively begins at conception.
At conception. So even if I had a miscarriage, what are you going to say about that?
It's a tragedy.
It's a tragedy?
Yes.
Okay, then let's talk about, like, what if it's affecting the woman or anybody who is pregnant in this situation? What if they're going to die and they have to get an abortion? That's the only way they're going to live. Are they going to be over?
Well, hold on. Just so we're clear, that's only a couple thousand cases a year.
No.
And so, yes, it is.
Have you seen
But-
how many individuals have already
You let-
died
but-
because they haven't been
but
able to get abortion care?
Abortion in the life of the mother can be put aside as something that needs to be considered. However, it's not always necessary. But let's talk about the main thing, because there's over 1.5 million abortions every single year that don't involve rape, incest, or life of the mother.
Yeah,
1.5 million.
yes,
But let's just ask you a very simple question.
They all chose to have sex.
When does human life begin?
When does human life, in my personal opinion, is going to start around the second trimester, a little more farther along. But let's get to this. Most individuals that are having abortions are going to be mothers that cannot afford it. They usually have already 2 to 3 kids and a lot of time.
So it's acceptable to be able to murder your young if all of a sudden you don't have the money to support them. That you can murder your offspring if you're poor.
So in the first couple weeks, even though it's still not fully developed, doesn't even have a heartbeat, doesn't even have brain
Development
activity.
does not equal dignity. A human being is a human being regardless of the process of development that it is in. Period. And so who's trying to take rights away? I actually want more human beings to
Then
be
why
born.
are you affecting LGBT?
Well, hold on. We're talking. Let me finish on abortion. I want more human lives, which, by the way, hilariously, would be more women
would be born because the right to life is paramount. You're trying to take rights away because you're okay with the massacring of little humans. Back to LGBT.
It's been going throughout history, though. Abortion has been a big thing for a long-ass time, and it affects people, and it hurts people.
So has murder and slavery and child sacrifice.
That is completely different.
No, it is murder. Okay, so let me ask you a question then. Define what is murder.
What is murder? Are you going to be talking about first-degree murder, like homicide, like going and having the intent to kill? Having the intent to kill somebody, but I'm just saying a clump of cells is, yeah, but a clump of cells is different.
Hold on, time out. If it's a clump of cells, what species is it?
What species is it?
Yes. What species?
It depends. Whatever's going to be pregnant, whatever you're trying to abort.
Is it a Homo sapien, a crocodile, or a raccoon? Which one is it? What species is it? Oh, wait, so if it's a human clump of cells, then it's a human life deserving of human rights. And the first right is life. And so you could call it a clump of cells, which is dehumanizing language, but I'll go back to this. Ironically, you're the one that is actually intruding on human rights. We're the one protecting human rights.
But you're trying to get rid of the options so people can have rights to their own body. If someone does not want to have a child, they should not be forced to. Oh, wait. If we're going to be doing this, then what are you going to do about the children in the systems that have been being assaulted, that are being hurted? Put more money into the system so people can actually get adopted, or actually other things like that.
Okay. Again, none of that is relevant.
No, because you want more babies to be born. What about people that can't afford them? They have to go into systems.
How many people are on the adoption waiting list?
Yeah, well, I know how many kids actually get adopted.
2
How many
million
kids
people,
that go into systems or are being fostered, that get assaulted, that get hurt? Are you going to be helping those children that get fucked over by this system?
So there are 2 million people on the adoption waiting list. There are 1 million abortions every year. There are twice as many people that want to adopt than discarded children every single year. Now, I have to go back to a fundamental question, though, which I think is very important. Human development objectively begins at conception. You say it's around 2 trimesters. Can we agree that every human being, once your DNA is formed, you should have the right to life, the right to live the life the way you want to live it? Can we agree on that?
How many weeks are we saying?
No, I say, again, once we
so,
can
like,
acknowledge.
once the sperm is inside the egg?
Correct, yeah.
No. Once the sperm is inside the egg in the first, couple of days? No.
Well, okay, but let's go through that. Isn't that when your DNA was formed?
Yeah.
But then aren't you fundamentally at its core, you are the DNA is your blueprint for your life. That's who you are. It's a unique marker.
It's my DNA, yeah.
Yes. So if it's not your DNA, why is it your choice?
Why is it my choice?
Yes. If it's not your DNA, why do you have a choice to eliminate it?
It's up to the individual that is having them inside of it.
Oh, okay.
It's their body. I don't care if it is a few weeks, because that is not a human being's life yet. Because
outside of rape,
that individual cannot survive without the mother or who is ever pregnant. Therefore.
Again, so let's get down to this, because I think it's very important and a good way to end this question, which is outside of rape, how did the woman get pregnant?
Outside of rape, so we're not going to be talking about incest or other individuals like that, because incest is not only just rape or other situations.
How about if I say?
Let's talk about how eggs that get mixed up in clinics.
How about if I say I'm okay with abortion for rape, incest, and life of the mother? Let's make it illegal in the other circumstances. Would you agree?
How are we going to be able to term that all the time, though? Because what if it wasn't consensual? What if the individual was drunk, but they're married? Let's say they're married and they got raped.
You can get a rape. Again, you keep on interrupting me, but you can report rape as a crime. You can also do a blood test to find out if it's incest. But 99.9% of all abortions are not rape and not incest and not life of the mother. How did that woman get pregnant in those situations? Did she just walk through campus and it just appeared and all of a sudden a baby is in her uterus? Or did she do something to decide to potentially have a child?
Sex. But also contraceptives sometimes don't always work.
Got it. So, but hold on a second. Shouldn't you take responsibility for your orgasms?
I don't think most men can make me come. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, again, outside of that statement, I'm not even sure how to take that, to be honest.
You brought up orgasms.
Okay. shouldn't you take responsibility for the sex that you have?
I mean, if I was wanting to have a child and my contraceptives, I didn't use any contraceptives, and I wanted to get pregnant, sure, I'm taking responsibility for that life because I wanted that life. But let's say I was having sex and my contraceptives didn't work and I got the chance of getting pregnant. I am not having that child.
So, but you still decided to have sex.
Yeah.
And again, our opinion, when you go and decide, having sex is not something you need to survive. It's not like showering or eating or shelter. You can live without having sex. You can have a little bit of self-control. If you decide to go have sex, you should understand you play certain games, you win certain prizes, which might be another human life. And it is the most...
I don't want to fuck up another child, though.
Hold on a second. Then don't go have sex.
No.
Oh, so you understand how narcissistic that is, that I want to keep on having fun, and if I have a human being and oopsie daisy, I'm going to eliminate that other human being because I don't want to have the human being, but I want to keep on having free sex. How is that not the most narcissistic worldview that one can possibly espouse?
It's narcissistic that I want to have sex with another consenting individual just because I don't want to have children. I feel like a lot of people in the world have sex. I think a lot of people make money off of having sex, and they don't want to have children. I feel like it is something that everybody do. A lot of people have sex just for pleasure.
Just because a lot of people do it does not make it right, number one. Number two, again, fundamentally, your view is I'm going to do whatever I want to do, and
I have a question.
If it creates another human being, so be it. Sure.
Do you have sex just to have a baby every single time then? Or are you doing it for pleasure?
I am married and we have 2 kids.
Yeah,
so we're pretty good
but
at
are
it.
you having? I'm assuming that you have had sex more than twice in your life,
again,
not
I'm
just
not
to
gonna
have the babies.
give you an inside look into my sex life, but
you're doing it for pleasure, not just to have kids.
Well, again, we actually always do it with God's trust that if we get kids, it's a blessing, okay? And we do it in the marital context. Again,
you also are in a position where you can afford to have children. You are in a position where you are not the lower class.
How about this? How about we have the maturity and the sophistication? Again, you keep on using words children and baby. Let me ask you a question. When someone is celebrating a pregnancy, do they call it a clump of cell shower or a baby shower?
That's also when it's already been past those weeks.
Oh, so it magically gets pixie dust. You're a human being now.
No, because it develops.
Oh, exactly, because it's all around the spectrum of human development, and human development starts at conception.
Yeah, is it going to be completely developed at the first week? No. So
you're not completely developed right now. A lot of people aren't completely developed.
I mean, you're never going to be completely developed.
It's like you are not completely developed at age 30 or 40. The spectrum of human development keeps on going when you go deep and deep into your life. The question is the most important question: when does that journey begin? That journey begin. Like, when did your process of development begin?
My process of development?
Yes. Yeah. At conception. Every person in this audience, your life started at conception. And your own DNA, from your eye color to your hair color to your height, from your likes and your dislikes, whether you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, all of that was coded into your deoxyribonucleic acid at the moment that you were a zygote. And so that human deserves constitutional and human rights. And again, you came up here with the accusation saying, I am here taking away people's rights.
You are.
Again, so
you are affecting LGBT rights
right,
and
so
abortion rights. You are affecting individuals that can't always speak for themselves.
Got it. So again, I think we have gone through this plenty of times. I want to get to the next question.
Okay.
But maybe we can get to some.
I'll burn it.
You'll burn it. Okay. Maybe we can get to some approximation of an agreement. Can we agree?
No.